Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Man United agenda for our reaction show of our thumping of Notts Forest at the City Ground. Here we go. Well. What have we got here, ladies and gentlemen? What an evening of football. And here to break this apart bit by bit with me, I have the main man, Rebel. How are you?
I'm good now. You couldn't be better after watching the last hour and a half of football, could you?
No, you sure not. And then we have the watch along king at the moment, OMONDI Juma.
There's two of us tonight. It's going to be me and my new addition. This is Demas. You might have met him previously. He's a little Yorkshire Terrier, and he is a bit of a terrier as well. Bit like our players today, all over them. And I'm really impressed. Yeah, watching it live. Thanks for everyone who tuned in for the live watch along. Let's go into depth now with the two Irishmen and discuss the game and pick your player of the match and player ratings as well. I'm looking forward to this.
Can I just say that now that he's brought Demas into his very first watch along and that we won 3-0, he's going to have to appear every watch along now. You know, you've just started something.
And you're going to have to get another dog and call it Shaka, so you have Shaka Demas and Flores.
and
two more dogs, actually.
Guys, yeah.
Yeah, I've got for Flores as well. So let's keep it going. So look, lads, we're going to get into the lineup straight away. So, guys, in the comments, let me know what you thought of the lineup, the couple of changes that were made, the three noticeable ones that stuck out for straight away. That was Luke Shaw was left on the bench, and Torel Malacia was brought in. Varane was rested, Victor was brought in, and Scott McTominay obviously was, I wouldn't say rested, but was brought back to the bench to bring the legendary Casemiro back into the team. So, Rebel, were you shocked, or was it a bit of a no-brainer coming into this game?
Well, just in terms of Luke Shaw, he was suffering an illness, so that's why he was actually left out of the team. It was mentioned there in the pre-match commentary, so hopefully it's nothing too serious. Now, obviously, we have a couple of games that we might necessarily need him for in order to get him back to health. And there, just as I was opening my mouth there, Box is typing it, so thank you very much for that, Mr. Box. But
I hope it's not food poisoning now, because the poor chap's never going to hear the end of it. So anyways, Reb, keep going there.
Yeah, you mentioned there a couple of the changes. Obviously, Casemiro back from his suspension was obviously going to restart in the... But I think the surprising one for us all was Victor Lindelof. And there's obviously going to be much to be said about him later on in game. But as much as that was a surprise, the fact that there was absolutely zero place for Harry Maguire on the bench leads me to suspect that maybe things aren't as rosy in that garden.
Leads me to suspect that he's suspended today, Rebel. So take that one and smoke it. Yeah, Ben's saying here, good lineup, pal. We did what we needed to do and possibly rest a few for the second leg. Yeah, coming into the game, I think we talked about the starting lineup. We discussed it before the game, don't we, on the Man United agenda? And we were sort of thinking maybe Harry Maguire, but then we found out he's suspended. Lindelof, that was a good shout. He was put in today. Malacia got a game. Wan-Bissaka seems to be holding down the right slot. It gives us time to not rush back Dalot. There's not so much importance to that right now. And coming up to Reading as well, I think we can go with Wan-Bissaka again. In midfield, Casemiro had to come back in. I think we talk about him later, but he came back into the side today. And Eriksen, I thought Eriksen could have got a rest, but when you see Eriksen play, you realise how key he is to what we're doing and how we're playing our football. So I'm quite happy with the side. People could have said Garnacho could have started, Palestri, youngsters. Before the game on the previous show, I was saying, yeah, play the youngsters. It's okay. We get away with it. But the manager's always right. He's more qualified than all of us here. And he's got the result. 3-0 going away to Old Trafford. We could go out there and then play the youngsters. Maybe it's less of a risk. But yeah, I'm really delighted. He picked the right team in the end. And there were so many sort of variables and variety of players that we could have played. And he's the one on the training field. He's the one talking to them every day. He knows what's what. And he did, in the end, pick the right side.
Can I just say as well, I don't envy Solo picking the second leg team because God knows what comes out that day.
Yeah, you're right, Rebel. So you're saying that it could be like a mixed match. You could bring a bit of balance there because of the advantage we have to 3 goals.
You
Exactly.
never know. The majority of the substitutes came on tonight might start, so that could be a bit of an indication. Now, Amanda, before I go into the next topic, well, the same topic, but would you mind reading a word from our sponsor before we go any further, please?
No problem. Obviously, you know, we're sponsored by GMS. And guys, we're going to get to the point where everyone can read this out together, like one big hymn together. It's going to come very soon.
GMS, my lord.
All together now, children. We are sponsored by GMS. This global mapping surveys. They assist architects, property developers, and construction companies all over the country, or as Rebel would say, over the UK, United Kingdom. And as Andy would say, all over the world. They offer a wide range of services such as setting out topographical surveys, 3D laser scanning, and monitoring. And the link is in the description. Let's go.
Now, guys, before we go any further, do us a big favour and give us a smash on the like button and subscribe. This is a cost you and it does help our channel no end. Now, prior to this game, I was on Mr. Door's YouTube channel, Door on TV. Go and check him out. Top fella, great YouTube channel. When I was talking to him, two things I said to him, and I feel like I must have had a bit of a crystal ball now looking back at it in hindsight. I said one thing to him: what has Sam Sturridge got to do to get in the starting lineup? Lo and behold, he started the game. And I said, in a perfect world, I'd love Manchester United to win 3-0 so we could rotate the team. And lo and behold, it happened. Now, I don't have a crystal ball, but I can tell you one thing I didn't predict was Manchester United to put the ball in the back of the net after 5 minutes with a fantastic goal by our on-form striker, Marcus Rashford. So it wasn't just the goal he scored. It was the build-up play, where it came from, and what he done to the defenders. And it emulated a bit of a resemblance to a goal from the FA Cup back in '99, except for that there wasn't as many players that got twisted in and out. So, Amanda, what did you think of that one? And could you give us your view on it, please?
Yeah, I mean, like when you said about 99, you talk about Giggs semi-final against Arsenal. It was similar because he had to sort of Giggs played between his 2 feet, touch to get around Tony Adams and whoever it was, Billy Dixon, to get between the two of them. So he was faced by 2 defenders to get through, and it's like 1 foot to the other. And Rashford did a similar thing, touch, and got inside of the 2 defenders that came across to close him down. Let's go way back, because he actually picked up the ball from inside his half, and it was a good play. We really composed the way we're playing the ball out. There's little triangles, little passes with Martinez, who's a cool head, pop, and it's played out, I think, by Martinez or Malacia, or whoever it was. It doesn't matter. We're all on the same page. Played to Rashford deep. He drives. He starts driving, and they're scared to go with him because you think he's running down the left, he's going to cut in onto the right. But he's drive from his own half, got into the sort of where the area is, decided then, is he going to jockey? He went to jockey, and then 2 touches, he's cut inside these guys, and he's in on goal. The problem wasn't there. The ball was under his feet. He had to sort of get out of his feet to think, right, I would like to shoot with my right, but then he was confident enough to say, right, I'm going to get it out of my feet and shoot with my left, and he slotted it near post. It was a lovely goal. I'm sure everyone jumped off their seats, even Rebel, who came onto the show saying he's feeling really excited. And that goal would have definitely excited Rebel. I know that for sure. Excited me.
Yeah, it was some hot stuff.
It's not just, it's as Amanda was alluding to, it's not just Rashford. It was Malacia picking up the ball, getting the ball straight away. What I noticed about Malacia all day, as soon as he picked up that ball, he's under fierce instruction from Erik ten Hag. Get it to the feet of Eriksen, Casemiro, Bruno. Every single time he got the ball, there was no messing around. Just intuition, boom, to the feet. And that's how that transition started. Malacia to Casemiro, straight away to Rashford, and away we went. And it was poor old Worrell, and how do you pronounce the right back's name? Aurier, is it? He had the 2 of them tied up in knots. Even that chap Danilo tried to get back, and it was just too late. Rashford was away, and poor old Hennessy got lashed out by Marcus Rashford for the 4th goal, again in a 3-0 defeat. So the game could have changed. The mood could have changed, Rebel. Morgan Gibbs White picks up the ball, breaks with the ball. He has Sam Sturridge to his left, and he has Johnson to his right. Slips the ball out to the left, and Sam Sturridge, in fairness to him, puts the ball in the back of the net. Now, it was offside in the end. Thank our lucky stars. 2 games in a row. They've had 2 goals disallowed. Do you think that could have changed the game, Rebel? Do you think it could have changed their fortunes, or would it just have been a minor setback?
Sorry, can I just deflect to Monday because the bossman was texting in the WhatsApp group about something and I got distracted.
Right, so basically, Notts Forest had their chance to get a goal back. It was disallowed, but do you think that could have changed the game on Monday?
Yeah, look, I'm going to go way back again, as I did with the Rashford goal. We had the ball. We were getting confident now. I think Ten Hag's at the stage now where he's not thinking about a rest defence. He's trusted the players to keep possession in certain areas. Rashford was on the left-hand side with the ball. He had options. He went for the wrong option because he played it across the pitch, just outside the area. We're trying to reach his target, which was Bruno, who was kind of central. And it wasn't the best of passes. It was cut out. And that's how they started the break. And obviously, when you look at their lineup, they're set up with fast, young players. And I know, Pat, you're a big fan of Morgan White. Morgan White.
Morgan Gibbs. It's I'm the same as well. I'd be like,
yeah, I know, but you're a big fan of him. He's a young, dynamic player. And obviously, he's worked with the manager before in the England youth setup. So the manager knows a lot about him. And he's getting the best out of him. So he's driving forward. He had options. We closed in the gap. The defence were backing off. We closed in, kept it nice and narrow, gave them options. They played it wide to Sam Sturridge. Lindelof went to get across, held his run. Went to get across, and he slotted it into the corner. It was a good finish, and you picked it out. Obviously, I watched a bit of your show on with Dawes the other day, and you did sort of pick him out to say what's happening with this guy. And there you go. Bob's your uncle. He pops up and scores a goal. Unfortunately, it was offside. Lindelof done really well to hold his run, I thought. And it's fine margins, isn't it, when it's such small detail. If that was without VAR back in the day when it's just down to the linesman, I suppose it could have gone either way, and the goal could have been given. So fair play to Forest. That was a good break. And it's just a reminder at that stage to say to us, watch your back, guys. Don't get complacent. Because there was a few players out there I felt were a bit off the pace a little bit. Like Casemiro. So, yeah, that was a good finish by Sturridge, what his name is. He's one to look out for. Sam Sturridge, yeah. He's one to look out for when he's got ability like that. And Morgan as well. That was a good break by him. Yeah. So that's, I think, how I think Forest set up. Before the game, I was thinking, how are they going to penetrate us? What are they going to do? And I just underestimated them. I thought they'd just be a physical big team, waiting for corners, set pieces, that kind of thing. But they showed they were going to sit back and try and hit us on the break. That Johnson as well is someone you have to be mindful of. He's rapid. So they had a game plan, and that was an example of what they could do on the break.
Yeah, so I was watching out for Aurier. Aurier was one of the mans who starts to play for them. He gets the Gibbs, and pretty much the play he had. But another one was I believe he's Brazilian, is a Scapra.
Yeah, left-footed.
I thought he was very good tonight. Yeah, very good tonight. So, bit of props to that lad as well.
Yeah, most certainly. He's come from Brazil, and this is someone who's also young, fits the bill of the manager. Who you think, well, what's so good about the manager? He's attracting all these good young players. It's because he's part of the England youth setup. He's been part of it for a long time. He's well known by all these young players. So he's going to go and see all these young Brazilians when you play internationals against Brazil in the youth setup. He's going to know who's who. He knows what on the world stage. So it's a good player for Nottingham Forest to bring in with that knowledge of sort of players. It's a bit like Arsene Wenger when he went to Arsenal. He already said, right, I know Vieira, I know Nicolas Anelka, or give me a club and I'll bring them in and I'll show you, because he always got forward and foresight that these guys are going to blow. The same with the Nottingham Forest manager. He's brought in 2 players. You think, what, he's going Forest? I thought Chelsea were in on this guy or someone else, or Newcastle will look at this guy. He's brought these guys in. And like you said, this guy, Sopio, whatever his name is, he's a Brazilian player, been playing in the Brazilian league for a while now, and he's one of the top assist makers out there before he got signed. So it shows he's got a lot of talent, and he's put in a good shift today as well. So I do like the manager of Nottingham Forest. He's done really well.
Omondi, can we hear some of these comments, because they're coming in thick and fast, and I'll be afraid that we're going to lose a few of them because we'll have to end up jumping to catch up.
Of course, not, no problem. Mr. B saying light work, good, so glad for Weghorst. Obviously scored a goal. Okay, Mbappe saying Wembley, here we come. I want to say hi to Ben Outlock. How you doing, man? He said, how we doing, guys? We're doing great, and we're just delighted to be here. Sure, had an illness, as Rebel was saying earlier. Colin saying, great performance. I will say, like I said in the live chat, to Mr. B, who didn't like my humour, looks like he was Volt and about for the box in the goal. I think I'm gonna have to read that slower later to get that. Ben saying here, a good lineup. Powell did what we needed to do and possibly rest a few players for the second leg. That's a great comment. Hi Edward, how you doing? He's saying good evening to everyone on the panel. I would have rested the lads tonight. Hope and happy we won though. Big up Box as well. Langa, just bigging them up too. Box has read out a number of players here. I think we need to give minutes to the squad players. He's named them: Maguire, Lindroth, Williams, that's Brandon, Heaton, McTominay, Fred, Palestri, Garnacho, Iqbal, Mainu, and thing versus Reading. So that's the kind of lineup we want to see.
Box, you think they'll hold their own in a replay, and it would be they'd be able to secure their 3 points? Or sorry, the win. So we don't lose that 3-0 lead in the replay with that many changes. Or are you on about Box across the next games?
I think Box is saying here versus Reading in the comments, but yeah.
Oh, sorry, my mistake. I didn't see the Reading.
But you're right, though. There's 2 games here that these guys could be available for, don't you think, Pat?
Yeah, definitely.
Jeff saying here, of course, how do I become a member of this elite group? You have to take an initiation, which is a challenge. You saw Mr. B. Says initiations, probably sing a song in front of us live on screen, and you get a chance to come onto the Man United agenda as well. So Jeff, we would love to see you. Honestly, Pat will let you know as soon as I finish the comments.
Sorry, just before we go any further, there's actually a link in the comments, Jeff. If you click on that, and you'll be able to see which perks you get for which section of the membership you'd like to get. So you click on that, have a look, and come back to us there.
So that's the link right now. Go and check it out. Box is saying, does Rashford have a hairy chest in relation to Giggs running away and waving his shirt around, and also showing all the ladies his chest? MK saying here, let's shout out Langa for keeping it calm and his composure in a pressure situation to give to Bruno the ball. She's referring to the last goal there. That was a really good finish. Ben saying second leg, be perfect for Sancho to get some minutes. It's lovely, isn't it? Just hear things like that. I want to say hi to Zoe Media House as well. She's saying, based on current form, would you say Rashford is the top 5 players in the world? That's a good one. Scholesy look great. Haven't seen you before. I've seen Scholesy before. And if you're taking his name, you've got to be a talent. You've got to be a respected guy. Big up with that name. Love the name. Scholesy, the GOAT, which means the greatest of all time. I love Scholesy as a player. And so I like you already. Liz, what's he saying? It's an absolute
Sandro Martinez.
Sandro Martinez, beast in defense. Wembley, here we come. Glory, Man United. And finally, a couple more here. OJW, how you doing, man? He said Bruno was shite today. I disagree. I thought he played
massively.
Really good, running in behind and all that kind of thing, and really sort of composed on the ball. It's a couple of times, really good technique to bring the ball down, start plays off. I like Bruno, but yeah, I mean, everyone sees the game differently. Bruno, and if you say he's that, I probably missed something, but yeah, fair enough. And Rush Mano, how you doing, man? Decent result, he's saying. Better second half tonight. So well done, guys. Finally, Bingo saying, guys, you need to keep, bench, or sell. He's saying Ronaldo, or Ronaldinho. I would keep Ronaldo R9 and Ronaldinho. I wouldn't keep Ronaldo R7. Anyway, let's get on with the game.
Okay, so basically, I'm going to just come back to OJW's comment there, okay? So, OJ, if you could just let us know why you think that Bruno has such a poor performance, because there's another player that I'd like to get into that is dividing the fan base a little bit, because he's coming back into form, but he's still not in the form that would warrant his price tag at the moment, and that would be Antony. Now, he had 2 chances on goal before the first 12 minutes, but guys, in the comments, what did you think of Antony's performance in the first half alone before we get to the second? All right. So, Rebel, since you disappeared for a little bit there, I'm going to come to you. What did you think of Airman Antony's performance in the first half?
I suppose I just want to say, because I was sitting in the watch along throughout the game and I was watching some of the comments about our young man Antony, and I kind of have to cast people's minds back to when Cristiano Ronaldo arrived in the English Premier League. He wasn't getting it right 100% of the time at the start, and he grew into the way that he needed to play in England. He was coached into the way that he needed to play in England, and he took on board the comments of the more experienced peers that were around him. And I think what we're seeing from Anthony more and more is that he's starting to get his decision-making better. And come the end of the season, he might have got all these wrinkles out of him, and we'll be seeing a different Anthony come start to next season. I can't fault him overall today. I think he went about his business in as good a way as he could. Manchester United won 3-0 in the end, even though in that first half, as you probably were mentioning, we could have conceded as many as we scored. But look, you have to take these rubs of the green. But I'm satisfied with Anthony overall, and I think there's definitely a bigger villain in the United setup this weekend, or tonight's game.
Okay, so guys, I'm really interested to know what you think of Anthony's performance tonight as he's gradually coming back into form. Now, while I'm still on Anthony, he picked up the ball, got it to Casemiro. Casemiro makes a run. To me, it looked like he was running in slow motion, and he was kind of slowing the game down a little bit while everybody else was bombing up the pitch. He ends up playing the ball back to Casemiro. From Casemiro back to Anthony. Anthony, 2 touches, 1 quick touch, and it was like a kind of a volley, half volley, shoots, falls back to Hoot, and his first touch into the back of the net. How impressed were you, OMONDI Juma, with Hoot Weghorst's first goal and his first touch to put it in the back of the net for such a big fella who was holding off a defender at the time?
Look, I could be here. I could do a whole show raving about this position, what he does for the team, how he contributes to the way we play our football. And we saw examples tonight, evidence exactly what we were doing so right on the pitch with this guy. Obviously, he scored his goal. Fantastic. That's what you want to see at the end of the moves. People were saying he hasn't scored 2 goals in 20 for Burnley, and they were assessing that what he bring to the team. I wouldn't mind if he didn't score. I just like what he does with his contribution outside of the box. He's a big guy. You need to he play it into his feet. He pops it around the corner. You play it to his feet again. He hold off to the defender. You play it to his feet. Plays where he's facing to get that third man run. I think what's crucial, we've got a way now, a system to open teams up. We've got a team against Forest where we can practice our thing. It's all right, practice on the training ground, 11-11. Now we've got time to practice it. The third man runs. You can play a ball, 1 into Weghorst. He's big enough and strong enough and experienced enough to hold up the ball or play a first-time touch. 1 into Weghorst. Weghorst plays the 2 to someone else. That person plays the 1, continues to run, and the 2 plays it into the third man. That's the third man run. Basically, Weghorst is brilliant. I say this, brilliant at bringing people into play that way. Holds up the ball really well today. He even done well against Arsenal. You got to see the subtle things that he does. And I thought I was raving about him during the watch along about what his contributions, what he was doing, and to finish it off with a goal. It shows he's not just a one hook trick pony. He got into the box and with his Anthony had a 1-on-1 with a keeper. I screamed goal because it should have been a finish. But when Weghorst was in that position, he just curled it with his right foot to the roof of the net and ran away, knowing that he's the man and he can show over the next few months that we could keep this guy because he could be a good addition to our squad, not our first team, our squad. So I'm really impressed. I like the way he plays. I'm a big man myself. That's how I play my centre forward position. When I play there, hold up the ball, use your body well, have the defender, field the defender, and give them hell. And that's exactly what he did. Lovely, subtle way of pass, popping it off. Real beautiful play. He's like a pinball. I can't say you play it into him, pinball off him, and you can work things. This is why Anthony would benefit from having him on the pitch and everyone else around him, especially Bruno, who makes those runs in behind. Look. We'll see. I want to say, watch this space. You saw a little sample tonight, but watch this space. And I've muted a few people. Unmute yourselves and talk for me.
So I'm very happy that Eric Ten Hag has let the loot about this house because he can't do much more than what's asked him at the moment. So I'm very happy. So, OMONDI, if you wouldn't mind, would you hit a few of them comments after I asked everybody their opinion about Anthony's performance tonight, please?
Right. So obviously you asked about Anthony, and there's been a lot of discussion about him. He's causing a lot of discussion here. Box is saying with Anthony, he's very unique. I feel Palestri is more direct, and his play benefits us. Hopefully, Anthony becomes more direct. And Mr. B saying we're judging players too early. It's a good point. Anthony will improve, says Mr. B. Anthony is finding his feet, says Russ Mano. Mostly his left. I found that really funny. There's people that like cussing him about being one-footed, and he was okay today. So there you go. Zoe Media House said, I would say Bruno was shit. He didn't show his recent form, but shit is a strong word. That's nothing to do with Anthony. It's to do with Bruno from previous comment. Russ Mano is saying Anthony should have had at least one goal. I totally agree. And in situations where he's 1-on-1, he didn't really beat his man convincingly, but yeah, he should have scored. He was 1-on-1 with the keeper. Ben is saying it's his first season. He did well tonight. Just give the lad some time. Pilestri was far more direct than Anthony, says Zoe Media House. 2 more from me. Emma Kay is saying Anthony was way more direct today, Anthony was way more direct today, but he just needs to listen to his manager and his teammates, not care about anybody outside of that. So that whether it's the Man United agenda fans, or whatever. Jeff saying, hi Jeff, said Anthony's soft, easy taking off the ball, and if he can't cut in on his left, he's going to get stopped 2 times. Ball ran across him, and he should have shot with his right, pulled it to his left, and got shut down. Good observation. Rush is saying Weghorst movement is excellent. Couple more. Oh, they're talking about Weghorst. It's all Weghorst because you asked a question. Everyone's talking about Weghorst. Oh, here's an Anthony comment from Steve Mack. How you doing, Steve Mack? Welcome to the Man United agenda. Steve is saying Anthony's too predictable, cuts in on the left as far too much, and needs to start beating players 1-on-1 like he's well capable of doing. Agree. Good comment. Finally, Emma saying Anthony's going to get better when we are more possession based. Some really good insight there from the people in the comments. Thank you.
So we seem to be in agreement at the moment that he's not perfect. The price tag is weighing him down, but he is getting better. Would you agree, Rebel? You're still muted, buddy.
There's not a mute button on this bloody thing. But the United price tag that we paid, they've admitted already that it was an overpriced purchase. It was a buyer that was trying to get it from a seller that didn't want to let their asset go. So naturally, if you want to take the player from them, you're going to end up paying a little bit extra. That's what Manchester United ended up doing. But he is a player that will grow into his shirt at Manchester United and will be a benefit to us over the time that he spends here. So I'm not too worried about short-term misfiring. Look, Ten Hag is here 6 months into his project. We played a team that was 3 years into their rebuild under Arteta last weekend, and we went toe-to-toe with them for quite some time. So give Ten Hag the same amount of time, and let's see where we're at. Let's see where Anthony's at then. But judging him now, it's putting the cart before the horse, really.
Agree. And I'm always the last. I feel like I'm always the last person to judge. So I'm always the most patient. So I always stick up for most players a little bit longer than I should do. Now, one person who had me nervous in the first half, but I believe grew into the second half, was Victor Lindelof. In the first half, I thought he was a bit shaky. In the second half, I believe it was Morgan Gibbs White played a ball through to Johnson, and Victor made a great interception just as the second half started. And after he made that interception, it was like his confidence grew. He was playing it out well from the back. He was taking the ball around with his feet, playing it forward. And I think he had a much better second half than his first half. But the question I want to ask is, besides his performance tonight, is there a level to Victor Lindelof? And would you play him in a bigger game, or is you just think it's too high of a level for this centre half? And OMONDI, you are our defensive coach on the Man United agenda, so I'll come to you first.
See, this is an easy one for me. Yes, I am the defensive coach. I am a defender. I am also a manager and a coach. And I'm very good at talking about defense. Now, I'm joking. Not for fun. But yeah, Lindelof, people are questioning him. But when you're out of the side for a long time, a couple of things happen. He's been injured, naturally. And he's always been the B team when it comes to being a defender. He's never been the main man at Manchester United. He sort of resigned to that role, even though he's a Swedish international, even though he's really composed on the ball. If he was playing in Italy or something, people say, oh, that guy's a good player. He's really rated. And he does the right things. He's very good on the ball. He can spray passes. He does well. He's pretty quick, shepherds people out of play. He's not the most brutal bully of a defender there is. A couple of times he's been caught out, but playing in the Premiership, you're going to be up against it week in, week out. And he's a proven Premiership player. So I'm not going to disrespect him. I think he's a decent very decent to good player. We're Manchester United, as Paddy would say, we demand the best. So I don't quite think he's at the level of the best. When he was playing in partnership with Harry Maguire, they ended up second in the league. That speaks volumes for something going right, even though the play wasn't the best and they were being exposed a lot of the time. So he's a good defender, very good centre back. And today he was learning, shepherded things out of play. Obviously with the offside, held his run slightly and was fortunate enough that the goal was offside. I thought he put in a good performance. I don't think there should be any question marks raised because he's been rusty. He's coming back from injury, hasn't played that well, hasn't played in a partnership with Martinez that often. And it was a good time to give him a good run out because we might need him later in the season. So the jury's not out for me. He's been here a long time. Give the guy a break. Let him settle in.
Rebel, your opinion on Victor Lindelof?
Yeah, look, in terms of a squad level player, yeah, look, that's what he is. Is he starting 11 quality? No, not for me. Will he have a use over the course of a season? Yeah, of course he will. Now, the one thing I will say is I thought he was rocky enough during the entirety of the game. Now, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt based on the injury, return, and all the rest of it. So I'm not going to come down on him like a ton of bricks. But there was one particular piece of play in the second half that for me, it's no matter what level you're at in terms of coming back in your fitness, is unforgivable for me. He was coming back. There was a ball coming in. It was literally coming up over towards him. And he seemed to lose complete and utter awareness of where he was in relevance to the ball. And it went in behind him and he gave a free attempt at goal to Nottingham Forest. And I think those are small little things that seem to happen to him during the course of 90 minutes on a regular basis, is that little lapse in concentration. Sometimes we might pay for it, and tonight we didn't. But in terms of if you're looking for a player that's supposed to challenge Varane and Martinez for their number one jersey in that centre-back partnership, he's not that player. But in terms of a utility player that we can make use of over season, why not? But I'm not sure he'd be satisfied with that level of play, given the fact that he's now coming into the latter end of his career. So maybe he will look for a move at some point in order to get those last few years of first-team football.
Now, I felt the game slowed a little bit in the second half, and Steve Cooper brought on two substitutes in Jesse Lingard for Sam Surridge for Scapera and Surridge for Emmanuel Dennis, and Jesse Lingard came on. Now, Emmanuel Dennis has scored against Manchester United twice for two clubs, one for against Watford and one in Club Bruges. The Watford game I just happened to be at, which I wish I hadn't been at. Now, Lisandro Martinez must have heard about this record he had before he came on the pitch, and he says, I'm going to show you. And in the 70th minute, he made a Vidic-esque challenge on him that I don't think Emmanuel Dennis did a lot after that. I think his head was spinning. What did you make of the challenge he made, and how excited did it get you, Omondi Juma, defensive coach?
Yeah, so you have to consider, right? So in the first half, we were hit on a break and they scored a goal. Players were too far ahead of the ball. We gave the ball away and we weren't set up. There was no insurance there. And Lindelof, as we said, stood up well and luckily it was called offside. So sometimes when they're breaking like that, it's good to take people out early before they get to the next phase and really hurt you. So this tackle took place on the halfway line. Martinez was up the field. We had to get numbers back, and Martinez came across and went to ground and got the ball and I called it afters, where you take the ball and there's some afters, a receipt as well with that. And I love that about him. And I know straight away in my mind, I was thinking, I bet Pat's loving this right now. He loves it. I mean, Pat absolutely loves the butcher, guys. If you love the Man United agenda and get to know people, you know that Pat is just like, what we should do is what's that program? Key through the keyhole, whatever it is. Go to Pat's bedroom, and he'd be like a 5-year-old kid with a bedding with Martinez on it and posters all over. Because that's the kind of characteristics that we love in the defender, all or nothing, and he usually takes all. and the man as well in that example. It's afters, come through. I got the ball, ref. There's nothing you can say, and I'm coming through him as well. Cleaned him out, and we love to see that. Fans love to see that. Shows desire, and also just go back with Martinez. There's an incident in the first half. We had to get his head in where it hurts, just like he did against Arsenal, and clear the ball. He's just dynamic, and he's just courageous, and he's the sort of guy you want on his side, whether it's a barroom brawl or playing in the top flight of Manchester United.
He is courageous, just like Casemiro midfield. They have made the difference for the characteristic of type of player we need at Manchester United. And then we had the legendary Mr. Double Silky Feet Christian Eriksen. Rebel.
Wow.
As much, the fella could walk around the pitch and he still be a superstar. Did he look a bit jaded tonight? Did he look okay to you? Does he look like he needs a rest for the next game? Do you think he could be rested for the Reading and the Nottingham Forest game?
Personally, I think Erik ten Hag needs to take the opportunity not to let that man touch a blade of grass in competitive football until we return to Premier League. The job was done tonight in terms of he went out, he dominated the midfield alongside Casemiro, he made those key little passes and everything that is so Eriksen about what he does, and he got his result. I've said this a number of times. I do worry about the fact that we have that. I know Erik ten Hag wants to win every game, and I love that attitude about him. But you do need to have a level of player underneath Casemiro and Eriksen that can come in and take some of that workload. And I think he's hinted a number of times that he doesn't have that luxury at the moment to be able to remove these lads from the field of play. But what you will always get from Eriksen is 100% effort. And that's what we got again tonight, 100% effort. And when he has nothing left, he will be the first to let you know he has nothing left.
Omondi Dioma, two players spring to mind who I'd like to stand in for Christian Eriksen if he was to be rested for the next two games. Who would them two players spring to mind in your mind?
All right, here we go. That's a lovely question. You're a great host, by the way. I love these questions. I feel honoured to be able to answer this because this is something I would have thinking about myself. Eriksen, as Rebel was saying, that Eriksen is unique. And I want to say big up to Ender. He said, I thought Eriksen was quality tonight and was just so intelligent on the ball. Yes, Eriksen makes us tick. He makes us play. All these moves, all these patterns of play that we're trying to develop, all comes through him. Whereas he pass it to him, he gets so much respect on the ball that eventually players just back off him. Because you rush him, you just pop it off, play a little triangle around you, and he's just so intelligent. He paces the game to his pace and always seems to make the right decision. He's so unique, no one can really replicate what he does. Unless you get Paul Scholes out of retirement. I saw Paul Scholes in the comments earlier saying he was the GOAT. Where Eriksen right now is the GOAT at that sort of game, dictating the play, the tempo and all that kind of thing, making right decisions. The only player that I can see who could maybe replicate that, there's two of them. There's Kobe Manu and there's Zidane Iqbal. And I know you're nodding, Pat, because you set me up for that. You teed me right up for that, fed me, knowing that I was going to say that. Those players have the ability, the passing, the control of the tempo, that sort of play where they can do that role, in my opinion. I just need a bit more development, a bit more physicality. Even though Eriksen isn't physical, he keeps getting moved up when it's one-on-ones and physical duels. But these players are some key players that could be groomed into playing that sort of role because we need that role because it's so important. We've got Casemiro, we've got Eriksen. They do different kind of jobs. Eriksen cannot do what Casemiro does physically or tackle-wise or those sort of duels, but he's almost his match as in distribution in that. So, but Eriksen is just unique. He's very special, a very special player, and very rare these day and age when you think it's all about physicality and that kind of thing. Eriksen is sweet, just too sweet. He'll rot your teeth. That's how sweet he is. I love this guy. I think he's a great player. When I say great, I'm not saying it. Great player, very great player, and we need to appreciate players like this because they're what these sort of players going forward, we can learn from. If you've got a son out there, you say watch Eriksen, watch him play. because nothing flash. But he's the most effective player on the pitch. And you think, well, I can do that. If I get my touch down, if I get my control down, and I get a bit of awareness, I can play like him. It's not that hard, but not many people are able to do it. So Kobe Manu and Zidane Iqbal, those two players, I think, have got the game and they should be looking at him and following him like a shadow around the training ground and asking him enough questions about how to do what you do.
So I want to ask Rebel a question now, and it's based on the back of what Airman Box has just said. And he says, Savage has gone to Forest Green Robbers on loan. Now, you know that I am a big Charlie Savage fan, and I'm a big Zidane Iqbal fan. But Kobe Manu come in, has just put it all into the mix for our up-and-coming players, and you're like, oh my God, who is going to get into that team next? You would think Zidane is next in line. He has a little bit more experience. He's a bit older. Or should it be a case that Zidane Iqbal should go out on loan now, Rebel, and Kobe Manu should be in the wings there, taking up bits and pieces of performances because Zidane is a little bit more far advanced?
I can see why Savage has gone out on loan, because if you were to look at that group of midfielders that are in that youth bracket, he was probably the lad that was second to Zidane Iqbal. And the fact that Manu is getting some first-team experience, I don't think Ten Hag believes he's ready. But at the same time, he thinks, look, I can afford to let Savage leave on loan when I have this guy, because horses for courses, this guy will do at that tier of my hierarchy in midfield. And I don't think it would have been without any doubt that he would have gone out on loan if Donny van der Beek hadn't had a season-ending injury, and if we hadn't let Garner leave. But unfortunately, because we have those moving parts after being taken out of selection, it is absolutely impossible to let Zidane Iqbal leave. He has to be here. He's going to be needed for that FA Cup game. He's going to be needed more than likely for that second leg game at Old Trafford next week. Now, beyond that, if we are not in the FA Cup anymore, maybe there's a bit of room. Maybe a last-minute loan could be facilitated. But for me, I think he's going to be there, and he's going to be looking to put his name on minutes on Ten Hag's rotation for next season.
Okay. I'm after going completely off topic here with the Nottingham Forest game. I just couldn't help talk about Kobe and Zidane. So, guys, in the comments, please hit us up with your man of the match. Okay.
I do have a poll actually that's been running. There's 37 votes currently, just so you know.
Whoa. So well done, guys. Well done. So now we're gonna get to the last goal. Bruno. OJ, you had a little bit of a problem with him. I think Bruno Fernandes didn't have his greatest game in comparison to his most previous games, but his work rate, he's everywhere. I've never seen him up and down the pitch. He's popping up in the defense in areas that I wouldn't even imagine him to be. Well, sorry, I wouldn't think it's him. I haven't got the greatest eyesight, guys, so I have to take a second blinkers when I'm going, that's Bruno again. And I'm like this, my God, this man is everywhere. And even towards the end of the game, he pops up, plays the ball up to Palestri. Palestri kind of got a cut in between his legs. Defender kicks it back out. Fair play to Anthony Elanga. Chips the ball back across. And who pops back up? None other than Mr. Bruno Fernandes. No messing around. Drop kicks the ball back at the net. Just does this. Drops a mic. Good night, guys. I'm going home. He may as well ask to be substitute there and then, because for me, he had another excellent performance. What did you think, Amanda Juma?
Yeah, he needs to thank Palestri for that goal. Palestri's off-the-ball movement is fantastic. You think as a winger, he should be hugging the touchline and running down the wing, taking people on. No, you see off the ball, he's very intelligent, this guy. This is why he's so highly regarded, because at his age, to have that awareness and thing, to be able to make the runs and be in the right position. Twice since he came on in 20 minutes, he made runs from almost central area. He was tucked right in and making these runs where in between the fullback and the centre-back in that space there, and he's fed. And he's actually directing with his hand where he wants it played. So once again, the second time around when we scored our goal, he directed the play, said, I want it right down the middle. He was played in, and the ball was a little bit of a scramble in the box. they were all over the place because of that run and the danger that it causes. And from the outlet with Elanga, made the right decision, squared it to Bruno, and he finished his dinner, slotted it right home. And that just sealed the deal for us. And I think that puts us in the final. If it was 2-0, there's always a question mark. But 3-0 going into Old Trafford, you've got to say we're going through. And that's what is a professional job. Well done today. Pellistri, for me, gets the goal for me because of what he done with his movement. That's really important. When you compare that, a lot of people say Anthony needs to improve. That's sort of the area he needs to improve on. Anthony great on the ball. He wants to get on the ball. He wants to do showtime tricks and all that kind of thing. He's going to soon realise it's not working in the Prem. You can't get away with that as you did in maybe a lesser league. So now he needs to progress and say, right, what do I need to do to learn to get better as a better player? This guy, Pellestri's been out on Alvarez, playing for Alvarez in Spain for the last couple of seasons or so and getting a lot of experience. I know Kieran Trippier went to Spain and came back a much better player about picking up spaces, picking up spots to hurt and damage teams. He's come in and the manager's seen this, being aware of this and exploited and told him, do the same here and we will develop you. And you can see the damage that it causes. You could also say, well, maybe it's late in the game, Nottingham Forest all over the place. Could he have done it from the start? But I still think he's making those moves, making those runs and make himself available. We need to get people in behind. And he doesn't do that so much. That's where he needs to improve, in my opinion. So he should maybe learn from Pellistri, who's now probably threatening his position. It's quite possible. And that's what you need to keep people on their toes. So, yeah, a really good third goal. All goals were really good for me, especially the Rashford one. But the Weghorst one was brilliant as well. And he was involved in because he took a shot because he was also tucked in. And he took the shot from a central area, which shows he's a wide man tucking in. So it shows what the manager's trying to do here. People got to learn. As soon as we pick it up, things will start to click as they did tonight.
So, Rebel, I'm going to come to you now for a man of the match. And on Monday, I'm going to finish with yourself for man of the match because I'm going to get you to go through the comments and do your man of the match when you're finished with the comments. So, Rebel, your man of the match, please, before we wrap this show up for the night. And you're muted again, buddy.
Sorry. Can I just say our Dutch correspondent is obviously in the building, Vincent Demise. He said that Erik ten Hag will frustrate us. Sometimes he has a robotic mindset picking the best team. When he does change a lot, it's only because of the opponent and not the next game. So obviously he's got a best team out all the time mindset. So that's a very good point from Vincent. In terms of my man of the match, obviously there's a number of candidates and we listed a few of them in the man of the match vote. And I will let you know how that fared right after I give mine. But I think given the spectacular nature of the opening goal, Marky Mark, the goal scoring king for Manchester United this year, gets my nod. And in terms of the viewership, there was 40 votes. So does boy Fred, got 10% of the vote. Wout Weghorst got 15% of the vote. Bruno got 28% of the vote. And Marky Mark, 47% of the vote. So almost 20 out of the 40 said Rashford was all the way home.
Okay, I'm going to go for some comments before I give my few. Boxers say Martinez and Malacia, not big in height, but physically strong. So it's not about the size of the dog, it's about their bark. Emma's saying here, Malacia had Johnson on strings at some point. He's a very fast player, Johnson. Butcher is the beast, says Rushmano. As we said, Argentina, says Ed. Steve Mack saying, Aaron Wan-Bissaka has come on leaps and bounds because his first team role, starting role, was under pressure from Dalot. A few of our team needed that kick up the backside, i.e. Pellistri and Anthony. Looking at that situation.
Welcome, Steve-O.
Big up, Steve-O. Bruno's saying, sorry, Emma's saying Bruno needs a rest. I thought I was going to say Bruno's saying Emma needs a rest. Emma, you don't need a rest. We love your contributions. Box is saying Iqbal and Manu versus Reading, please. Zoe again saying Erik ten Hag should have integrated the likes of Iqbal and Charlie Savage to be able to rest Eriksen and Casemiro. Rushmano saying Manu is top talent. I want to say hi to Jay. How you doing, Jay? He said Bruno and Anthony both need some bench time. Pellistri is knocking on that door.
That's good to hear.
Somebody at the door. And Jay again saying Bruno and Anthony both need some time on the bench. Oh, he's just repeated his comment. Oh, I did. Excuse me.
It was that good of a comment. You have to read it twice.
Exactly.
And while you're mentioning Pellistri, there's a man that's out in loan at Sunderland, Amad Diallo. The Black Cats absolutely love this guy, and they haven't been playing him as a winger, so that could be an interesting little bit of competition for some players when he comes back into the fold in the summer.
Yeah,
how many young players are we talking about here on the cusp of first team, which is really good. Really good to see. Box is saying Iqbal linked to Middlesbrough. That's Carrick, currently in the top 6 championship, which is really good. Carrick's doing a fantastic job. Emma's saying here a few of us would have gone on loan. A few others have also gone on loan to lower leagues than the championship. I'm assuming it's for game time experience against adults. Ed saying here again, Bruno is one of the most creative players in the world. He makes us tick. And Box is saying Fernandez Finesse is either Brazil 70 or Barnsley. So it's one or the other. Week by week, he's being Zoe Media House. Just a comment, isn't it? If Bruno was English, he would walk straight into the England team shed. We've read out what Vincent's come and said. Go always check out Vincent, man. Full of knowledge. Steve O'Mac again saying Bruno's playing his game. It's his first time in 2 years that we aren't relying on one player to do something. We have a lot of character in this team now, and he takes the pressure off us for sure. I appeal to Paultini. How you doing? He's saying Martin is my man in the match. With VAR call, still controlled performance. Johnson for Forest. Dad David started off with United, didn't quit until his son Brendan. Oh, was very good. Okay. A couple more. I want to say hi to Eddie Football Waffle. Go and check out his channel. We love Eddie on this show, and we're one big community here, so we always plug and promote each other. And I'm not just saying I love Eddie. He's good. His channel's very good. He said we've seen from this from Ten Hag before where he played a burnt-out team versus Villa, where United lost. Hope he isn't as stubborn as Vincent Demis is saying there. And finally, Rashford is man of the match for Zoe. That's twice he scored goals from running from the halfway line and going past defenders. My man in the match is United. It's like clear. I'm really surprised by the poll. I think it's Weghorst. I thought Weghorst was outstanding today and really showed how he can make a team click. The third man runs, as I was saying, come off him. So much things can come off him. We didn't have that before. We didn't have that outlet. We can play it into someone's feet and then he can play off him again. He's so unselfish and he actually got goals again today. Don't judge him by his goals, judge him by his performance. And I think his performance deserves a 9 out of 10, which for me qualifies as a man of the match.
Monday, Juma. I was going to say Marcus Rashford, closely followed by Woot. But now you've completely changed my mind because I believe there's a lot more from Woot to come because it's twice he's been taken off in the second half, a little bit earlier than expected. So I still don't think he's as sharp as we're all expecting him to be, but he was like an extra player up there, torturing the defenders, like Dolph Lundgren walking around, punching them over with them massive arms. If he dies, he dies. There was no stopping him. He's an absolute machine. And I hope Mr. B said it earlier on. He's a different player that suits our system that we're not used to. And he is. That was a great comment by Mr. B. Yeah. And he really is. So he's going to get my man in the match. But my God, Marcus Rashford, if you can hear me, keep up that form because I don't know what we do without you. Now, guys, we're going to wrap it up for the evening. But before we do, tomorrow evening, we have the preview show versus Reading versus Manchester United. And we will be getting joined by Jay Motty, OMONDI, Errol, and Mr. B. You know how that goes, and I hope they don't keep calling Mr. B Jay Motty's dad and giving him the old bit of stick. But it's going to be a great show. And then Friday night, we have the transfer talk and Mr. B's legendary Friday night takeaway. So, guys, have a lovely evening. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you again soon.